Hello everyone and welcome to my walkthrough for the Use the Force Skyrim mod. So pretty much what this walkthrough is going to do is show you all of the aspects that I have added, all of the Force powers, as well as some of the quests or sort of the areas that you fight in. So right now we're showing, I'm doing a little character creation. There's not much change for character creation except for the eyes. So I think if I recall correctly, I made a little version of Palpatine in this character creation thing. I'm also going to use this moment to do a little bit of a channel update. So what's going on right now? Well, one of the big things that I wanted to do was to finish up the quest portion of the mod. The problem is that working in the Skyrim creation kit has been definitely a bit more difficult than I had intended. Also, you can see here the changes as far as the eyes go. So I've made it where the vampire eyes are able to be done for any normal species now without being actually a vampire. So just a little Sith effect sort of thing. So, alright, so oh, yeah, and I'm also in this mod using the Live Another Life mod, which I really wish was available on PS4. It would be awesome if it was, but it's not. But it's available for PC and Xbox, so definitely if you haven't checked it out, do so. Definitely opens up the role-playing options a bit more. So what else is going on with the channel and the mods? As I was saying, I've encountered issues with the Skyrim creation kit. Right now, whenever I create a dialogue tree and that sort of thing, I've been encountering crashes. So I have to pretty much delete the tree, the files for that tree. Then I have to go back in, set everything back up again every time that I want to edit it. So that's made doing the quest part difficult. I've also had people who were originally supposed to do the whole voice acting for the mod kind of fall through. I know I was providing the voice for one of the characters, the Darth Tempest character that you see in the mod. But right now, the other people haven't come through yet, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Right now, I don't know. There's probably a couple things that I might do to make some fixes to the mod, but I guess for now, it's kind of going on the back burner. My main thing that I want to really work on right now is I have an idea for like a blaster sort of mod. To put in some different forms of weaponry. So that should hopefully be coming in the next month. I should release the first version of that. And hopefully it's something that you can enjoy. If I can find some way to do models and get that figured out, that would be great. Okay, so going back to Use the Force Skyrim. That little miscellaneous box. Well, actually, first of all, if you go back, you get to the place right outside of Falkreath. So you just fast travel to Falkreath. You turn around. There's a little mushroom icon. You go there. And then you can go inside, and this is the main hall of the Force Temple. And the three little notes there, you can read those and get some manner of, story on what has led up to the discovery of the Force Temple. There's the three notes, and then there's a little journal here. Now there's three main holocrons that are accessible. The Grand Holocron here, I think I activated, yes, okay. So the Grand Holocron here provides one set of buffs. Each of the buffs for the holocrons lasts 7 days, or 68 hours, whatever. So as you can see here, the buffs are, it increases magicka, reduces illusion spell cost, that sort of thing. And each of the holocrons do something around that, where it improves the skill sets for those particular spells associated with like the light side or the dark side, or more neutral spells. What else? and it reacts similar to the shrines that you encounter, but it's not on the same level. So you can include the shrines of, like, say, Mara or whatever, along with one of the holocrons, and that'll sort of, be useful to you and that sort of thing. All right, let's see. Yeah, definitely the Sith holocron is a nice little boost because of the damage bonus for destruction and alteration spells. Okay, I was going into the console. Oh, probably to give myself gold. Yes, that's what it was. Okay. Because I just started out with a new character and I didn't have any gold. So the easiest way to get the spells is by buying them, obviously. You can also craft them through the workbench and that sort of thing. That was the original the way it was implemented to acquire the spells and that sort of thing. But I figured with adding the holograms and the droid and that sort of thing, that it would make it easier to access most of the spells. I think there's one particular spell that you can only get by fighting through the Dark Sanctum. I probably should add something for the Light Sanctum as well. I haven't decided what to do that yet with, though, so. And a little level up here from all the buying.
Divine smile on you, friend. Need something?
Okay, so the Merrick Bashi follower, you can just talk to him. I think right off the bat, you don't need any prerequisites from right now. And then he will join you. He comes with a little light sword.
What do you want me to carry?
A few people have commented on the noise from the light sword. Well, in this case, it's a training sword without a glow effect. I'm still thinking of a way to replace that sound. Something better to add. Still work in progress, though, so we'll see with that. What else? Well, this is the first area of the Light Sanctum, so definitely could use sprucing it up, adding different things. I know there's a few areas that I need to actually spruce up. If I recall correctly, I think I go through the Light Sanctum using primarily light-related spells. Oh yeah, and I also cheat and raise my magicka up to 1,000 because that makes it so much easier, especially starting off on a new character. You don't necessarily have to cheat with these spells once you actually get up there. But starting off, it's probably useful for demonstration purposes. Alright, now, as you'll notice, there is a little trap here that you can sort of avoid there. Jump up, and then, yep, oh, nope, I was wrong. I thought I would have been able to remove the spell, or the soul gem, but apparently I wasn't. Now, the first enemy that you face is called a Far Outsider. To those who are familiar with the Star Wars canon, it's actually another name for Yuzan Vong, so I figured it was a nice little enemy to add. And you'll also notice that, like the Yuzan Vong, well, he actually took a hit there, but he hasn't taken any damage. He pretty much absorbs most of the spells that you use against him. I forget, did this actually work against him? Oh, well, not if I get hit by it. Yes, now generally this spell, Force Push 3, does a great amount of damage. In this case, it only did a minor amount. So I think it generally does like 40 damage or something like that. Alright. So Force Healing 1 is a heal over time spell. As you can see, it does, let's see, restores health, yep. Now, Force Healing 2 is a concentrated spell. So you hold it constantly, and it restores both health as well as increases, if I recall correctly, magic resistance and armor. So it's a good spell for a tanky sort of character. It does drain a bit of magicka though. Now you'll notice on each of the main enemies, they have a couple holocrons, as well as a key that leads to the next area. Now you want to be careful in this area because, as you can see from those little dropped buckets or whatever, there is some poisonous stuff around here. So as you can see, my health is taking a little bit of damage there. And of course another trap. Alright, so this little crystalline area I figured would be representative of like different kyber crystals and that sort of thing, as well as force spirits. Now, I've encountered some weird things in this area every once in a while, that sometimes they would end up fighting the main spirit in here, which was weird. But right now I'm using, well, the two versions of Plant Surge. The one version is like a trap that you set up on the ground, and the other version is a concentrated attack. As you can see though, most light side powers aren't very useful as far as doing an attack. Definitely not as useful as the dark side powers are. And you'll notice that the spirit that you face actually uses Force Drain. So if you are hit by it, it will drain your force power. Now the next spell that I use is a master spell. It's Battle Meditation, which provides a boost to all allies in the area, or technically I think it's anyone who's not like attacking you. Provides a boost to their health and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for Merrick there, and he still fell wounded. Also, you shouldn't have to worry about the Merrick Bashi character. He shouldn't die. Hopefully. Alright, so we're going to have to resort to Force Unleashed, which provides us a massive boost to our magicka regeneration. So the Force Drain pretty much hasn't had any negative effect now. So we can use Force Absorb to absorb the energy that she's using against us. And it's still ending up to be about even between Force Absorb and Force Drain. Now Force Light is it only does damage to an enemy's magicka pull. And if I recall correctly, I think it slows the enemy as well. So it's useful for fighting mages. I think it does like 40 points of magicka damage a second, or something like that. So it's useful against mages, but to actually stop an enemy, it's not too useful. Now, for some reason here, the shades that came from this Force Spirit ended up becoming enemies of the Force Spirit. How that happened, I have no idea, but there are some weird quirks to the whole NPCs in Skyrim. Alright, so here we are using Force Speed, which gives a big boost to our, well, movement speed. Now Force throws rocks against enemies, and once you learn the impact perk, you don't even have to use a double rock or anything. A single rock will cause a stagger to enemies, which is a nice little trick. Do I demonstrate that here now? Aha, I do. Okay. So I boost that. Oh, I have to do 2 perks here to get to impact. So I cheat again to give another boost. Oh, does Mare take out the Force Spirit before I can use it? I think he might. There we go. Oh, and he does. So unfortunately we can't demonstrate it here. But if you go to the remains of the Force Spirit, there's more holocrons, some loot, as well as the key to the final area. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Yeah, I forgot that I did this. So to do a demonstration before I go to the final boss, I decide to spawn a little bandit. And as you can see, one hit from the Force Throw rock staggers them a little bit. It's not too much of a stagger, but it's enough that it should provide you a better opportunity to attack them. Also, I did it, but Force Armor, well, I was able to show that my armor rating there, it was a big improvement over, well, pretty much I'm not wearing any armor on my own right now, so Force Armor is definitely a good improvement as far as what armor it provides. Oh yes, there are a couple traps here, so you want to use a little force push to get by them, and don't run too far ahead, because there's another one here. Oh, I guess not. I thought there was. Alright. So for the last enemy in this area, I want to be ready. What do I do for this? Ah, Force Repulse. Yes, that's it. So I start out with Force Unleash because I'm going to need all of the force power that I can get. Because the enemy that you face here is I guess a representation of the spirit of the Sith Emperor from Star Wars The Old Republic. Now using Force Repulse, which sends all enemies away, but in particular this one, gives us a good chance to push them away. Now we can finish them with our Force Push 3, which is a concentrated Force Push spell, which I showed earlier against the Far Outsider. He didn't stand a chance. And with that, we have completed the Light Sanctum, and we're able to Now travel to the Dark Sanctum to face the trials there. Also, as you could have seen right there, the illusion spells, or the illusion force powers, are about even as far as being dark side and light side. So that provides a little bit of a balance. And I think, if I recall correctly, I think illusion spells are reduced in their cost between both, all three holocrons. Now, as you can see here, the Padawans are a little difficult for me here. I was able to use Force Horror to cause that first one to fall back, but I had to resort to Force Strain to give myself a little boost. Now, unfortunately, I did have to reduce the power of Force Strain versus what it was when I first released the mod. When I first released the mod, pretty much Force Strain allowed you to absorb enough power from enemies that you could pretty much take out anyone. So now it absorbs a little bit more magicka. I think the reason I wasn't taking any magicka there was I pretty much absorbed it all from that Padawan. Also, you'll notice here that the Padawans have what are called Jedi robes, which is pretty much a Dunmer outfit that has some different enchantments to it. Now, you can take those enchantments and learn them at an enchanting station. The only thing is, because of how Skyrim's enchanting system works, it'll only affect one particular skill, while the other ones will remain around at 10%, I think. So that's something to keep in mind if you take that enchantment, is only one skill will be affected by your enchanting score and that sort of thing. Alright, for the second area, you face more little manifestations of the Force, as well as a dark version of Merrick, who, as you can see, using that Force Push 2 there is quite a bit of a pain. And I died. Sometimes that happens. Now, if you die while going through this area, sometimes it does bug out the NPCs. So the NPCs in the second area, or if you saved before the first area, or even the third area, will sometimes not spawn for whatever reason. If that happens to you, best bet is to completely exit Skyrim and then reload it. Every time that I've done it, I've reloaded it before I've entered the Dark Sanctum. I wish I knew specifically why that bug happens, but unfortunately I haven't tracked it down yet. Right now I'm using the Mekuduru sort of spells. Now, Mekuduru, if you don't know, is a force power that showed up a lot, and I think it was part of the Star Wars RPG and all that, and it was pretty much involved using the Force to control droids and that sort of thing. So there's 4 different I guess sort of spells or whatever, and I use it to one is to control a Dwarven Centurion, which is the one right here. Then there's also one for a Dwarven Spider, a Dwarven Sphere, and then also a soldier in Dwemer armor. So all 3 of them have, or all 4 of them, have their different unique properties to them, and I hope they can provide a little boost to your combat. Now, right now I'm using Force Shock, which does a minor amount of damage, and it's sort of a beginner dark side spell. It's definitely a little bit more useful at lower level enemies than it is right now. Because as you can see right now, it's really not doing much to these dark manifestations. Pretty much our Dwemer Centurion is doing most of the work. Alright, there we go. So again, you pick up the keys and the Sith robes. The Sith robes, similar to the Jedi robes, except I believe they promote or reduce the cost of destruction and alteration. Yep. Oh, and illusion as well. Okay, so the final battle. We're going to prepare ourselves with Force Destruction, which is among the most powerful. Well, actually, no, I decided to go with Dark Paralysis first. To do a little showcase of it. So as you can see, Dark Paralysis is kind of representative of something that Jarek does in the first Jedi Knight game that he uses against Ron in like the first cutscene or whatever for the game. And I don't know if it's supposed to be sort of on the same level as Force Destruction, or like is a different version of that, or they just represented it like that. But that was sort of the use behind that. Now here we're using a different level of Force Lightning 2, which is pretty much Chain Lightning. So it's a concentrated Chain Lightning version, and it's definitely useful against taking out a horde of enemies. Unfortunately, I couldn't show Force Storm here because we're inside. But Force Storm pretty much conjures a storm. It's similar to Storm Call. Pretty much it's... Actually, I think it's almost pretty much entirely like Force Call, or Storm Call. Whereas it summons a storm and lightning comes down from above and takes out your enemies and that sort of thing. The only thing is it's spell instead of being a shout. So here we are with the final enemy. Then it has this really complicated name, Gwyn, whatever. Pretty much what that is it's the proper name of the Star Dragons. So if you look on Wikipedia, you'll see what a Star Dragon is. It's these creatures that have existed for like millennia and whatnot. They're sentient and all that. And they kind of reminded me of the dragons in Skyrim, except that the ones in Star Wars, they're able to like travel through space and all that, I think. There's a lot of weird things in Star Wars canon, especially the old canon, the expanded universe and all that. But, you know, makes it interesting, and I figured it would make a useful last enemy. Now this made it look really easy as far as this last fight goes. It's generally not that easy. It was only easy because I used the Centurion to sort of tank him. When you go to face him up close, it'll be a little bit difficult. Now be sure to check out this dark egg that's in the 3rd level before you leave, because that gave you the holocron Force Hunger, which I'm going to show momentarily, and it's definitely a pretty cool spell. Alright, so here we are back in Falkreath, and now I definitely recommend either saving beforehand, or if you really want to just go all out, choose a target wisely. Because once you use it, well, as you can see, it does a horrible amount of damage. And pretty much wipes out a good portion of a town. Now there's a couple NPCs here that I guess are invulnerable. Merrick is one of them there, but there's this person here. That one lady over there. Why those ones are considered essential, I have no idea, but, you know, whatever. Now one effect that this had that was kind of unintended was the dead bodies continue to give you health even after they're dead, which was unintended, but at the same time I decided I'd keep it just to give that extra little boost. This power is definitely overpowered beyond belief, but it's honestly what Force Hunger or whatever Darth Nihilus and the Sith Emperor do. It's pretty much representative of that, you know, except on a smaller scale, because what they do pretty much consumes entire worlds. So Force Hunger, once you learn it, is under your power screen, as you could see before. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this mod. I know I definitely enjoyed making it, and it's definitely been useful in my own personal role plays in Skyrim and that sort of thing. Beyond that, what would I say? Well, stay tuned. If you enjoyed this mod, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel and give me a like to this video if you like it. If you have any problems, always feel free to mention something on my channel, whether it's on this video or on my other video for the mod, or on any of my other mods, and I'll be sure to get in touch and hopefully try to solve any issues you have. Other than that, stay tuned. I hope that you'll like my upcoming Blaster mod. As I said, probably about another month, and we'll see it then. So, alright folks, thank you for staying subscribed, and see you later.